Blog Talk Radio.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Sunny D. Thank you for tuning in to GFT Radio Show tonight. We want to shout out our co-hosts, Kenya, aka Double D, and J Ro. J Ro is sick and Kenya is on a fast that she brought up last week, so we're gonna miss them this week. But right now it's me, Clint, and our what do I want to call him? Like a special co-host / guest host, Willie Styles. He decided to hang out with us tonight and be a part of the conversation. So, Willie, you want to introduce yourself and say hi?
Hello, everybody. This is Willie Styles from the blog and website AskWillieStyles.com. Definitely check me out all over the internet, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'm Willie Styles everywhere, and that's Styles with a Z, Stylez. So glad to be here, glad to join Sonny and Clint and, just kind of chop it up and looking forward to a good show.
Yes, sir.
Clint?
All right, what's going on, everybody? Y'all already know who it is. It's your boy, Clint. We're going to start tonight's show off talking about Flint, Michigan. The little catastrophe they got going on with the water crisis over there. How that water has become contaminated with lead. And, it's been a real debacle over there. A lot of blame is going to the governor, Governor Snyder, for not taking action soon enough. It all started back in 2014 when the water became contaminated because they switched from using the pipeline from, I believe, Lake Huron, and they started using the Flint River, which was years prior they had tested the Flint River water, and it showed that it was contaminated and that it needed to be treated before you could even switch it over. And so now we have like over 8,657 children, according to the census data that was recently affected and exposed to the lead. Now, it could be more than, that's just the numbers they have, so it could be way more than that. It doesn't account the people who came and visited and left, or whatsoever. So it's really a bad situation. It's become a national story because it's been kept under wraps for a while. Like I said, it started back in April 2014 when it became contaminated. The governor didn't declare a state of emergency until this past January 5th. And just recently, yeah, it's crazy. And today I was just reading that the lady who ran the who's the president of the EPA out there, she just resigned too because people blamed them like they had all this information and no one took any action at all. It's at this point you got to find out who's to blame, but you also have to correct the situation. You have FEMA there and the National Guard there, and they're giving people filters and a bunch of bottled water. You have celebrities now donating money and trying to get water out there. So people are trying to correct it, but it's kind of too late, because so many people has been affected by it. No one has done nothing. I want to bring in Willie Styles, and because he's actually in Michigan, so he's closer to the situation than either one of us. I want to hear his opinion on it.
Yeah, so like you said, a lot of the issue came from this budget cuts that they wanted to do, and a lot of the outrage that we have here in Michigan is surrounded around the governor. The governor's taken over a couple of different cities, including Detroit, which is where I'm at, which is about an hour south of Flint, and then Flint, Michigan as well. So Flint, Michigan, I think it was 2011 that when the state went in, did the takeover, put in a city manager, and allowed them to start making cuts and changes in the city budget, which in some people's opinion was needed. Some people's opinion they don't like it because it's unelected official, and the state's kind of running the city. So, long story short, the city managers and all that doing the switch over to the Flint River, knowing that this water needed to be treated, and choosing not to treat it is probably the biggest slap in the face to the people of Flint, and the surrounding community, because this affects not only Flint, but this affects the surrounding communities who now have to lend aid and assistance to their neighbors and try to help them out, because, you can't just sit back and watch this happening, especially in your backyard and next door. A lot of our friends and family that live out there, they're affected. I mean, early on, people were trying to consume the water, boiling it, and all that type of thing. But then once, I think it was Ford, realized that the water was still rusting parts and still, creating, damage to different equipment, it made them realize that there was a problem, with that water. So rashes breaking out. I mean, it's horrible. You see the pictures online. You see the pictures everywhere. It's atrocious what they did to these people. It's pretty much domestic terrorism, bottom line. So I think that a lot of the responsibility needs to be put on those city officials, put on the governor. I don't think that the EPA administrator or whoever it was that just resigned is the only person who needs to be resigning. There's a lot of people who need to be resigning behind this. A lot of people need to be losing their jobs, and some people need to go to jail because they did a disservice and they attacked these people, bottom line. They tried to get around a money issue at the expense of people's health and the future of their children's health. So.
Yeah.
Before, I'm sorry to cut you off, Clint, but before we continue, I want to give out the number for anyone that want to call in and join in on this conversation. Our number is 657-383-1155. Go ahead, Clint. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to piggyback off what he said about, people need to, go to jail off this. I think I'm so sincere with that. I believe it too. And I believe, like the governor himself, like he really has to take a lot of responsibility for this. Because basically you're controlling everything. You know what's going on. You knew it was a bad situation, and you refused to act. Like the brother just said, it's like a form of domestic terrorism. And we're in the United States of America at the end of the day. So we're supposed to be a nation that leads in humanity. But that situation in Flint is inhumane at best. Like these people don't have basic needs, and basic needs is clean water. Like how hard is that? To provide that for the people. So I really think, some heads need to roll over this one.
Right. I think right now the question is, how do they fix it? Do they just throw a bunch of money at it, start switching the water back over? I personally don't understand why they haven't already switched this water supply over or done something to redirect this water flow back to them. I don't know what they did in the meantime since 2014 that would be preventing them from doing it right now. I haven't been able to study up on this enough to understand what the holdup is because, basically, like you said, they're being deprived basic needs. And I think all of the people that are helping out right now are doing the best that they can, but this isn't enough. People need to bathe, they need to cook, they need to be able to feed their babies, whatever the case may be, and you can't do that with lead in the water and all the other contaminants in the water. So, all these bottles of water, how long is this going to have to last before they start making some changes over there?
Yeah, I was actually reading up, and it was a doctor about it. I'm going to probably jack her name up, and I apologize if she actually hears this show or anybody knows her listen to our show. But Dr. Hannah Atista, she was the one that was seeing. She's like I believe she's like a pediatrician or something like that. She was seeing a lot of parents were bringing their kids in for having rashes, and she actually tried to tell them, she wanted to check and see if the water was contaminated, and they basically told her that she was like they basically said that her work was not founded and that she was trying to create mass hysteria. So they basically tried to hush her out of it. And then in October, it was they the city reverted to using Detroit's lake water supply, but the damage was already done to all the pipes, so it didn't really matter how the water was coming in. It was already contaminated. So, so that was before even October. So this was happening, and people were, like, bringing their kids in for different rashes and hair loss and a number of things. And, it just sucks to know that someone tried to come out and say this early on, and, she basically got discredited and basically said that she was trying to cause a big uproar when she was only trying to help people's kids that were, you got parents. I know I'm a parent. If something like that happened to my kid, I'm going to be upset too, and I would want to get to the bottom of it, So this is crazy.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, I mean that's the crazy part. I mean, if they time after time they've been told that things need to be done, things need to be fixed. I mean, one of the things that stands out to me is the anti-corrosion chemical that they were supposed to use, and I know part of it was causing some, I don't know what issue it was. That was one of the reasons they declined it, but they also declined it because it would cost $100 a day to put the corrosion treatment into the water, and the problem is that now, $100 a day is almost nothing compared to now the cost of rebuying water from Detroit will cost them $1 million a month. So it's like you should have paid the $100 a day there, because now you're looking at higher costs, and you're looking at more more permanent issues like the health issues that I think they need to be responsible for. They need to pay for these people medical treatments. They need to pay for these people
it's going to be a class
long-term care. Exactly. I mean, it's there's so many repercussions. Trying to save a buck now is costing you thousands to millions per dollar that you were trying to save.
Yeah. It's just sad because it's affected so many people, and this could have been avoided, and it really wasn't. And I would say it's going to be a lot of lawsuits happening. It's going to be a lot of lawsuits because when I pulled up the timeline about the water thing, I mean, they started, something kicked in. Well, I don't know if it was tested positive or anything like that, but it goes as far as back as 2006 up until current. So it's a lot of things. Like they said they were testing the water for lead and copper and things of that nature, and I don't understand how it could, it could be brought up and then it gets to this.
I agree. No, I mean, like it's oversight on a lot of things, but like the brother said, what now? You feel me? I really haven't. I've been doing some research on it, and it's like I haven't really got a clear answer on how they're going to fix the problem. You know what I mean? Like you said, we're just going to keep feeding them, sending them water bottles and stuff like that. Like, how are you really going to fix the problem? You know what I mean? Because at this point, a lot of it is irreversible.
Yeah.
You feel me? Some damage has been done to people. You know what I mean? So it's like, how are we now going to move forward and fix the problem? You know what I mean, that's the question I need answered. You know what I mean? Because
exactly.
You feel me? Like,
I mean, all the finger pointing is only one piece of the puzzle. We really don't need that right now. What we need is who's going to take responsibility for fixing the issue, and who's going to take the steps that's necessary to get all this done. Because the governor's trying to cover his behind, EPA is trying to cover theirs. All these different organizations are trying to expose the issue, but the bottom line is these people need help. These people need water. They need clean water. They need to be able to bathe. That's what's important right now. Not all the finger pointing and blame dealing and all the other stuff. So they're spending more time. Trying to deflect blame than trying to figure out a solution.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because they know that somebody that's like I said, once the lawsuits kick in, who's to blame? They're trying to get that out the way and established now because they don't want to, be like, oh, I wasn't. No, it was so and so. At the end of the day, when the problem was initially brought to you, something should have been done. It shouldn't take for so much things to happen for you to say, oh, let me go ahead and fix this.
I believe
like you
that.
said, the damage is done. You gotta. I'm sorry, Clint. The damage is done, but so you might as well figure out a way to fix it.
Yeah, I believe they really don't have a clue as to what they're going to do yet. Know what I mean? I don't think they have a clue of how to fix it yet. Know what I mean? That's why it's just a blame game going on now and trying to get people to take the fall or whatever, and because y'all don't have no idea, y'all knew from the door y'all was wrong. You feel me? But y'all couldn't correct. Y'all have no way of correcting it. You know what I mean? From the beginning, you didn't have a way of correcting it. So now we're at the stage where like everything is in limbo. People out there suffering. You know what I mean? So and like the brother said, a lot of these people, you know what I mean, they really don't got nowhere else to go. So they have to, you know what I mean, they have to put up with these type of situations. You know what I mean? So if you have like other communities, they want to help out. Now you're putting them communities in a bind as well. So it's like a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect going on, and somehow, you know what I mean, we have to stop this wave. You know what I mean? I could sit here and say this, that, and the third, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know exactly what they need to do to fix the issue. Now, but I know something needs to be done.
I know the governor. I guess he finally issued an apology, a little weak apology, and he's been pushing for federal aid and getting money in from the government to try to fix the issue. So I'm assuming they have some secret plan that they haven't told everybody about. But I know a lot of it is about trying to figure out how to get some temporary relief in, you know, with the water bottles, with filters and things like that. But the ongoing effects and the long-lasting effects have to be addressed. You know, I think they need to really figure out what's next with getting all this fixed. You know, because it's not just what's happening today. I mean, like back in the 70s or whenever it was when the lead paint situation happened, and you see in the 80s and 90s it was still affecting kids that had grew up in lead-based paint homes and all that kind of thing, causing, you know, not only birth defects but learning disabilities and things of that nature. So, you know, there's long-lasting effects that have to be addressed.
Yeah, but like how I want to know. What I would like to know is they like I said, he petitioned. He's trying to get $28 million to help with the water crisis because they have to fix those pipes and all everything. Everything they said they had to. There's a cost to undo the damage, both to help the residents with the health issues and everything. He has to do something, so he's asked for money to get this help. But like, what do you do in the meantime? How? I mean, I know that they're finding ways to get water down to the people, but at one point, like, you know, if they're getting it from other parts of Michigan, like, you know, how else can other people get involved with helping to donate? Like, they should start like a GoFundMe or some type of something. I know that's kind of cheesy.
There's a lot of organizations out here that are doing water deliveries. I believe there's, of course, Red Cross, things like that. I believe there's a couple of other, you know, smaller organizations. Even around here at my job, we received a notice about donating water. Actually, I should have looked that up before we got on the call, but you know, so there's definitely ways to help. You know, even if you go on the internet and just Google it, you know, that, you know, how do you help with the water crisis? There's not companies, but there's organizations out there that are, you know, collecting water bottles, that are shipping water bottles. I mean, there's whole truckloads of water coming in from different places to help out with the crisis. So a lot of that is basically what they're looking for is the water. That's what they need help with. But like you said, I mean, some monetary help I'm guessing would be helpful too, but with them asking for that federal aid, it's supposed to be taken care of mostly by the government. I know I heard that the president did declare an emergency or was planning to declare an emergency and provide FEMA assistance. So, you know, the big thing is getting FEMA in there, let them do their assessment so they can determine how much aid to provide, and then, you know, go from there. So we'll see.
Okay. I mean, I want to transition a little bit since we're, it's kind of, since we're talking about poor government doing a poor job. Let's talk about Oregon for a second. The Oregon standoff, I believe, is on day 20.
Yes, it is.
At the moment. And it's really, if people don't know about the Oregon standoff, it's a little militia group that's went and took over a federal building in Oregon, and they've been there for 20 days, and it's costing the state about $100,000 a week. $100,000 a week that for them being in there. They refused to leave. They went in there with guns. It's a white militia group. Now, today the Oregon governor blasted the federal government response to the occupation. Saying it's intolerable. Like they should have sent in the National Guard or somebody to get them out. But my thing is, if these people weren't white,
wow,
we would have
right.
a solution.
I had to hit the church well.
Like a solution would have been like they would have been got them out of there.
First
it would
of all, they would have been shot and killed because they would have looked like they were up to something, like they had a weapon in their hand. Even if they didn't, let's do this right here. What if it was that many black men without any weapons, and they took over a building? They would be shot and killed on day one.
Exactly.
Because they looked intimidating, and the police officers feared for their lives. You got these men invading the building, a federal building nonetheless, with weapons, telling you, I'm not going to go nowhere, and then you got one of them that is already a convicted murderer.
Yeah,
so y'all just let them, they've been hanging out for 20 days, and they're still alive. I'm amazed.
And they went in there under false pretense. Now, they're saying, like, their occupation was in support, there was the two local ranchers that's going to prison, that have been sent to prison because they were setting fires in the land, and it spread to, like, federal land. So they had to go to jail for that. So they said, so the people that's in this group were saying they were there in support of them, which they weren't. They had their own little agenda, and even the two guys.
That's what the story was initially, right? That they went in to say that somebody got arrested or somebody got what was it again? Something they were fighting for injustice, and then they go in there and take over.
Yeah, the two guys driving the ranch.
It was mainly government control of this public lands, and a lot of the government land, I guess the ranchers were being kind of pushed out of these different lands, or they were trying to privatize certain parts, and the government was taking over. So it's a battle of government control, right? So they're looking at, they want rancher rights. The Native Americans want rights to this land that's ancestral land. So in order for the Native Americans to get it, the government has to go in and get the land. So a lot of the fight had been between these ranchers and the government. So I think initially, like you said, they were saying that they were doing this in support of the Wampler, not Wampler, I'm sorry, I almost called the name of the guy that was doing the two. It was a father and son. That's what it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so their initial support was of that. They want, and today when they had to call with the FBI, they were saying that they still want those two released from prison because they had gotten reduced sentences, but in an appeal, the federal prosecutor was able to get the sentences redone, so they were able to put them back in jail for a 5-year sentence. So they're pushing for release of those two guys, but one of their demands is also to have the refuge that they took over, to have it turned over to the ranchers and to the to have it reprivatized. So that's now where it's become a bigger issue. So all this land that's been allocated to the government and being able to be what they call a wildlife refuge. So they're protecting wildlife. They're protecting the ecology of the area. It's also Native American ancestral land, so they're protecting that, keep it from being developed, and keep it from being grazed and that kind of thing. So these ranchers, all they care about is, it's affecting their bottom line, their dollars. So they could care less about the ecology, and they can care less about the wildlife because they're there to destroy it, for the benefit of their ranches, the one article I was reading today was talking about, you know, the effect this is having on the refuge, and how a lot of the refuge workers, for one, that live in those buildings that these guys took over, their concern is that those are their homes. These guys have taken over their homes. They're in their stuff, you know, in their private and personal homes, taking over their stuff, looking at their personal information. They're in their computers. And then they're also not being able to go do their job. Their jobs being to maintain and take care of these ecological areas that need certain jobs done. Mm-hmm. Without them doing it, you know, it's affecting animals. It's affecting. I mean, they have, I guess, these dams that they turn on and off, and they control the water supply to keep certain fish in and out. So there's a lot more repercussions than just letting two guys out of prison, you know, because now they're pretty much endangering the lives of people in the surrounding areas. So I definitely can understand that governor and that county's representatives. They're blasting the government about the slow response. And like you said, Sonny, I mean, this had to been some black guys going up in there and making all this. I mean, with or without weapons, like you said, this wouldn't have been tolerated. Not at all. No. You know, they would have went right in there. They would have kicked them doors in. That's what I don't understand. I mean,
yeah, and that's not even being realistic. That's not even being racist. That's being realistic and understanding that in the last couple of months, people were getting shot and killed for the most, they looked this way. I felt threatened, when it's been body cameras, it's been miscellaneous stuff. So just imagine that happening there, and they don't even have to, like I said, they don't have to be armed. They would have been shot and killed. So I don't understand how those men could do what they're doing 20 days long and survive. Not even survive. Haven't been locked up. They haven't kicked that door down and arrested them. They haven't tear gassed them out. They haven't gone in like that, how they do with a hostage situation. I guess because they don't have hostages, but really?
Well, this is my thing though. This is my thing is some of the workers stated that when they came in with those weapons, threatening them. They had been threatening them before, threatening them in the past. And so they said the relations had gotten a little bit better over the last few months, but they said that they had been getting threatened before. So it wasn't like when they walked in that they were on the best of terms. So these guys walked in, kicked these people out, and they were threatening their lives, you know, with these weapons and with the fact that if they came back that they were going to kill them. So, and like I said, this is their home. You know, they live in this refuge, and this is they not only work there, they live there. So it's a whole different situation. You know, I mean, if somebody came into my neighborhood and tried to kick me out of my house, I don't know. You know, that's a problem. You know, you're not about to just let somebody live up in my crib for 20 days. You know, I don't even understand how that works. But the long and the short of that is that, you know, they definitely need to do something more. I mean, they even had the guy who was in charge, the Cliven Bundy's son. Yeah. You know, he's out driving around town doing whatever he wants, but he's going back to the refuge, still having it taken over with his people. It's like when he came out, they should have arrested him or did something. You know what I mean?
And this isn't the first time they did this. This isn't the first time they did this neither. They did it in back in like 2014 over some little Nevada ranch. So like they have a track record of doing this type of stuff, but nothing happens to them. You know what I mean?
That's why they're gonna keep doing it. They've been black people and they've done the same thing. They've been shot and killed, and it wouldn't happen the second or the third time.
But my thing is, even if it was a bunch of black people, and even if they wasn't killing them and shooting them or whatever, say they don't do that, but the coverage on it will be so heavy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? All the media outlets will be on it so heavy. Like,
yeah, because I didn't hear about it until, it's been dormant for like a while. I haven't heard about it until today. I woke up and it was on, I think, CBS News, and I said,
it's nothing.
We're going to talk about this today on the show. So it's on today.
It's like you don't hear nothing. Now you got to go search for it. It's like if you don't know about it, you're not going to know about it. You know what I mean? You know, people not.
That's a statement against the media in this country. The media in this country, they only will cover what's hot, right? And they only will cover what's what they say happening, right? So this standoff is not hot anymore. You know, it was hot day 1, day 2, day 3. After that, they didn't care anymore because nothing was happening, which is sad, you know, because you got to think that the government or either the state government or the federal government should have went in there and did something. I mean, I guess the federal, since it is a federal reserve, but still, you know, somebody should have went in there and did something long before it got to 20 days. I mean, this is getting to the point of ridiculous, you know, and not that it's, you know, directly affecting hundreds or thousands of people, but it's indirectly affecting them, right? And it's directly affecting all those people who live and work there in that community. It's affecting those people who volunteer there. I mean, I was looking at one of the articles that was talking about how there's a few groups who have, including one called the Friends of the Reserve or the Refuge, and how they have different programs that they do throughout the year. I mean, those people paid money and donated money for this refuge to be there and for these programs to be in place. And now you're just, you know, squatting in there and you're doing whatever you want. I mean, they have access to all these records. They have access to all these people's information, and they can be doing whatever they want with that information. Who knows? These guys are already criminals, technically. Already criminals. Who knows what other kind of criminal activity they're involved in. So for them to be allowed to just have run of all this, all these buildings or whatever data that they want, I mean, that's ridiculous, you know. Those people are already fearing that, you know, their identities could be stolen, that their credit could be being tampered with, because those guys, they need money, of course, so they could be using those people's credit information to get credit cards or whatever they do to support their little militia. It's ridiculous that, you know, they're being allowed to continue to do this, that it's being handled so nonchalantly. But like I said, that's a statement to the media. The media's not going to cover this because nothing's going on, and they know it. So there's no reason for them to stand outside and wait for something to happen. I mean, only a few lucky media people are probably there to hear this phone call between that rancher, Ammon Bundy, and the FBI agent who was supposed to be the negotiator. So, you know, that was the big news for the day out of Oregon, and that's probably why you heard about it. But that was it. That's the only thing that's happened like in the last 2 weeks. So.
And my thing is, like, you're negotiating with them, but, like, so you mean to tell me you're gonna bend to their will? So, are you gonna give them what they're asking for, or is it just all talk to get them out of there? And then once you get them out of there, if it's just all talk to get them out of there, then what? Are you gonna arrest them?
Right.
No,
I mean, I think from the conversation that they reported in this article I was reading, it's on OregonLive.com, they have kind of a play-by-play of what was discussed. So essentially, the negotiator kept asking the guy, like, what are you looking for to happen? What do you want to happen in order to end this? And the Bundy, Ammon Bundy guy, he seemed to have no real definite answers other than, you know, the Hammonds family being, you know, released from prison, but then he mentioned the refuge being turned over and how they now want this refuge to be turned over. This looked like it turns out to be the real reason behind it. They're saying they want to have federal land titles given back to local people instead of the government. They want to have dealings with, or they want to deal with the fire hazards in the refuge and the compounds firehouse. So he had a bunch of, you know, things that came up that had nothing to do with the Hammond situation earlier, but not really alluding to what he really wanted to happen to really just end the occupation. The FBI guys, that was his push. It's like, what are we going to do to end this, like, immediately? And he seemed to just be kind of pushing it towards that. So I think it's all talk. I don't think it's really negotiating to negotiate them getting something. I think it's negotiating to kind of get them out of there, essentially, to say, hey, let's take this away from where you are. It has nothing to do with this county. It has nothing to do with these people. Let's really talk about what your issues are with the government and what your issues are with, you know, this Hammond situation. But let's do this off campus. Let's not do this there and let people get back to work.
Yeah.
Okay.
I personally feel like they just need to go in there, kick the doors in, drag those guys out like they would do anybody else, and keep it moving, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They would not allow this in a city. They would not allow this. I mean, and I think the people in Oregon, or the people in Harney County, they kind of need to look at it as the government. Well, I won't say the government, the federal government, but the federal officials who are handling this, looking at it as their attitude towards them is that they don't really care. You know what I mean? Because had this been happening in Washington D.C., them people would have been shot to death walking in the door. If this happened in Detroit, they would have had maybe a day, but then we would have went in there and kicked the door in. If this had happened in New York, they probably wouldn't have got down the street first. You know what I mean? So and they would have had 150 police officers on their behind. So there's a lot more to this than just,
and it sends a message that somebody can walk into a federal building with guns blazing if you are the right type of person, and go in there with guns blazing, do what you're going to do, and sit there, and nobody's not really going to do anything to you. Like, because if you let this happen here, it could happen somewhere else.
Right.
Exactly.
That's true.
So even if it's not as big as what happened in that social service officer with that guy, that story is shady to me anyway. But when that guy and his wife, the radicals, whatever they want to call them, went to that building and was shooting up the place and shooting everybody, which at the beginning of that one, I'm sorry to get off topic, but at the beginning of that one, they said it was 3 white guys, but then it changed to two Muslims. Okay, shot up the place. They got them, they were shot and killed. Done. So I believe even if they weren't black, if you were Muslim, you probably got shot and killed walking into that building with guns blazing. You wouldn't have lasted 20 days.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
So I don't understand how they could do that. And like I said, it's sending a message. Like, you worry about outside terrorists, you worry about ISIS, you worry about all this other stuff, but you got to take care of home. Like, and that's one thing I don't understand with America. We worried about a lot of things, but we need to take care of Americans like we should do, and let everybody know that even the outsiders, you can't mess with us because this is going to happen. But in the inside, if you take upon yourself to harm a human life and cause a mass issue, then we're going to shut it down and let you know that this is not acceptable. Why is it not acceptable for regular Americans to walk into a building and be guns ablazing and be there for 20 days, and if you got people in ISIS triggering people to come over here to do suicide bombs? You got to stop them both.
Right, exactly. You got to handle all situations with a level of consciousness, but also with a similar action, right? You got to be firm about the whole thing across the board.
Exactly.
You can't be wishy-washy. You can't be wishy-washy about it. It's just like parents. If we treat one kid one way and treat another kid the other way, the other kid gonna start rebelling. Like, hey, you're not gonna treat me worse than him, and then expect me just to take it. They gonna act out, right? It's the same thing. The same exact thing.
Because they probably figured they over here worried about ISIS. They ain't worried about us. That's exactly what's happening.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, let's switch gears one more again. Before we go on, I just want to say to all those out there that's listening, feel free to call in. Phone number 657-383-1155. That's 657-383-1155. All right, so let's go on to a lighter note. Little entertainment news. Jada Pinkett Smith recently came out against the Oscars. She wants to boycott the Oscars, mainly really just because her husband, Will Smith, didn't get nominated. She's been facing a lot of backlash from her stance, from across the board, from whites and blacks alike. Some people saying, a lot of people from the black community are saying, well, we have bigger issues to worry about right now instead of some damn Oscars. Like we had the Flint, Michigan issue. We got cops out here killing us left and right. This level of education in the black community is horrible. So many other issues out here. Why are we worried about Oscars being included into something that was exclusionary for us from the beginning? So I want to hear your take on it. we have a lot of other celebrity stakes on it. They had some things to say, like Julian Hubbard from the dark-skinned Aunt Viv from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Yeah, the original.
So when Dad said, Aunt Viv, you changed.
Yeah, exactly.
right. Yeah, I watched the Aunt Viv video, and I felt like she had some good points. I mean, we all know the history between Janice Hubert and Will Smith, or Janet Hubert, and Will Smith, and we definitely understand the dynamic with Will and Jada and the situation that they're in with Will not being nominated this year. I'm the kind of person, I feel like I don't want to be exclusionary. I don't want to be a separatist. I work in an industry where there's black, there's white, there's Asian, Mexicans, there's Indians, there's everybody, right? So I like the melting pot idea, right? But like Clint said, my thing is an organization like the Academy Awards, the Oscars, they are not the epitome. Well, in my view, I'll take that back. In my humble opinion, they're not the epitome of movie critics, and they're not the epitome of saying, hey, we decide who's the best of the best, because most of the time they're exclusionary. Most of the time they're being elitist. Most of the time they are excluding people or excluding movies and excluding actors and actresses who have done tremendous jobs in their field. I mean, we can look at a long list of people who have been basically shut out of the Oscars and have not had either a win or even a nomination that we know have done an amazing job in a movie or in a production. But, they have these weird off-the-shelf movies that nobody's either even heard of or don't even care to watch. But, they put it out there like they're the best of the best, cream of the crop, right? So I think that when it comes to the statement that we need to boycott them and all this kind of stuff, in a way I think it's right, because I feel like nobody should care what the Oscars say. The Oscars, they don't determine what I watch. Believe me, I've probably watched maybe 2 or 3 Oscar movies in the last 10 years. And even then, it had nothing to do with the fact that they either won an Oscar or were being nominated. Had nothing to do with that. The fact that Will Smith has won Oscars in the past, and now he's all of a sudden not nominated for a movie that personally I felt was not, anything special. I know a lot of people are saying he did a okay job in it or whatnot, or that the movie was good. The movie. It wasn't even on my radar. You know what I mean? I heard about it. Will Smith is kind of getting low on the totem pole when it comes to great actors nowadays. He's not producing the blockbusters like he used to. So I feel like he's just being a sore loser. Bottom line, he's a sore loser. His wife is jumping on his bandwagon to try to help him out, which a wife should. She want to be supportive of her husband. But I feel like they were the wrong. They were the wrong ones to put this out there. They were the wrong leaders of this supposed boycott or trying to feel like we were being excluded from the Oscars. They shouldn't be the mastheads for this, because it just sends the wrong message. You know what I mean? Idris Elba, I felt like his performance in the last few movies he's done. He was also on a TV show that I love called Luther. The man is an amazing actor. He's an amazing actor and thespian. He's also a DJ. The man got a laundry list of things he can do, and the women love him. You know what I mean? So it's not like a person like him shouldn't be nominated or win an Oscar. He wasn't nominated for a movie he did recently, and people had already been singing the praises to this guy about the performance he did in the movie. So he probably would have been I feel like he probably would have been a better masthead for this, because, being shut out of that. But even then, you look like a sore loser. If you walk out there and say, I've been excluded, why wasn't I nominated? I mean, it's just the wrong message. I think that it's the wrong time. Like you said, there's a lot more bigger fish to fry out here in this world, especially for black people. I mean, Jada was talking about being coming together and doing this together as a people. Where was her coming together as a people when we were getting shot to death in Ferguson, and when people were getting shot to death in Florida, and people getting choked out in New York? You know, when Black Lives Matter, where was Will Smith at to say, let's come together, let's do this as a people? I didn't see that. You know, I mean, she made some statements here and there. I think she had on her Instagram one day, I can't recall when it was. She made some comments about Ferguson, but I didn't see her make a video and make a big fuss about it. You know what I'm saying? Like she is about this Oscar thing. It's the wrong time. It's the wrong place. It's just wrong all the way around.
Well, yeah. I just want to drop this little bit of knowledge because I'm going to comment on this, but I know an actor who I think should have won an Oscar that has not won an Oscar yet, and I don't see how they never won an Oscar. I'm hoping that this year, even if no black people are winning Oscars this year, I think Leonardo DiCaprio should win an Oscar. He's done too many movies that were really, really good, that won a lot of money, and he has yet to win one. So I just think that he should win one at least sometime in his lifetime. He did a lot of great roles, a lot of challenging roles, and I think he should win. But as far as the Jada Pinkett interview, I'm more along the lines with you, Clint. Why are we stressed out about it? It's not a big deal. But realistically speaking, in the actor world, everybody wants to win an Oscar. That's why they act. They want to win those awards. They want to win. They want to be recognized for their work that they do because that's their work. That's that. And along with winning Oscars and Emmys and blah blah blah, they get more money in their pockets. Like you get more bigger roles. You get paid more because you won this, you won that, and this, and we won these high esteems. So now you have to be paid a certain even more money.
See, but to me it goes back to the point Willie made. Now, like he said, to me they're not the epitome of what's good.
Yeah, I don't think that either.
So
I don't think that either. But with actors, like I said, I agree. But with actors, they want to win those awards. I mean, it sucks that they're not thing, but I don't think they should be stressed out about it. But that's something I guess, especially Will, because Jada went up and spoke up for him. She wants him to be. She wants him. He must want that, and she spoke up. I mean, I don't know. I don't. In my opinion,
you're giving them a power. You're giving them a power over you that they shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Basically, what you're saying is, if they don't validate you, know what I mean, you have an issue with that. You feel like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like insecure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In my opinion, like, if the Oscars didn't validate my work, you know what I mean? What am I out here doing? You know what I mean? It's like a reaching.
I personally think that there's other award shows out there. There's other award or other recognitions that you can get, and I just think they really need to be chopped down to size. The thing is that an organization that has this long history, right, and they have this long reputation for being the way that they are, right? It's not like this is brand new. I don't know if it was 30 years ago or 40 years ago, but when it was, I guess, 40 or 50 years ago when they first allowed a black person to be nominated in their awards, it took another 10 or 20 years for the next black person to be nominated. So It's not like this hasn't happened before, but they have this long history and this long reputation of being the way that they are. They need to be chopped down. They need to be chopped down to size, just like the rest of these awards, and say, hey, you can't be the
end all be all.
The end all be all. You can't have this esteem to be the epitome of great actors, great movies, and great entertainment when you don't include other people and you don't allow people to shine that deserve to shine. There's People Choice Awards, there's MTV Movie Awards, the BET Movie Awards, there's
the SAG Awards with the Screen Actors.
The SAG Awards.
I love that award show.
Right. About to say their award show. I mean, you talking about For Us By Us, right? So
those are actors praising other actors for their work. I love that award show.
if nothing else, I think that should have that kind of esteem. If my favorite actor's favorite actor is on that stage, I would probably go check it out because I'll be like, hey, I love Leonardo DiCaprio. He said go watch a Denzel movie. I'm gonna go watch this Denzel movie. Denzel likes this Chris Rock movie. I'm gonna go watch this Chris Rock movie. Whatever the case may be, I feel more apt to do that than when the Oscars say, down in the jails, whatever.
But who's hosting the Oscars this year?
I've never even heard of half the stuff.
Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock is hosting the show, and I think he's going to say, but that's Chris Rock. They're paying him to be himself. He's going to say something.
Yeah, I mean, I can respect that part of it. That okay, great. They but I think he's done it before, right? This is not his first time. It's like his third or fourth time. So the fact that they know we're here. They know we exist. They respect us for that. That's fine. But I don't think it should have that level of esteem that it's got placed on it. Where, like you said, where it's making the superstars. It shouldn't just be that. It shouldn't just be the Oscars that can do that. There should be some of that placed on some of these other awards or recognitions, so that the Oscars can be put in their place and say, look, you're not it. You're not the only show in town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are they the ones running Hollywood? I kind of doubt it. You know what I mean? Because if that was so, they would probably put more effort into advertising the movies that do end up on their award list. Like I said, I mean, I can't remember when it was, but there was a time when there was so many movies that were not only nominated but that won that they had the lowest box office ratings of all the movies that were out that year. So it was like, I mean, it was
always
like
like
for
that.
a long time. It was ridiculous to me. Like how does that happen? Okay, I understand that it's not all about dollars. I do understand that. I definitely and I can appreciate that because sometimes what makes dollars don't make sense, right? We see that in music. We see that in music. But the thing is, bottom line is, people aren't checking for these movies. Why do we check for these awards? You know what I mean? So I think it's ridiculous to think that that we should put so much effort. And I'm mad that we got to even talk about it. So it's like
you sound like your brother. I didn't want to talk about it.
Right. So I'm already through with the Oscars as it is. So I've been boycotting the Oscars since 1981. So.
Now, on the little, we can piggyback off that real quick before we end the show.
Yeah, something about that time.
Yeah, Stacey Dash made some comments, related to that situation. And first of all, she thought the assertion of boycotting the Oscars was ludicrous. That was her exact words. She also said that we should do away with the BET channel. Now, I mean, BET Awards and stuff like that.
And Black History Month.
And Black History Month. We should get rid of Black History Month because we're being, as the black community, we're being exclusionary. My thought process is we created this outlet for ourselves because we didn't have an outlet to promote ourselves or to celebrate our work. Our work wasn't being celebrated as far as movies, black movies go, with the Oscars. I mean, that's already documented. Our history, wasn't being celebrated as American history. So we had to create these things, these avenues to promote us. You know what I mean? To give us an avenue. I kind of agree in a way, with Black history, it should be included in American history. It should be included in the textbooks. It was more to Black history than slavery. You know what I mean? Or the civil rights. It was more to us than that. We've created things. We've done things to advance human life. You know what I mean? So I feel as though we should be celebrated on a higher level than just black people. I think we should be, yes, we're black, but we've, did things for society just as much as any other race. You know what I mean? So I could see her point from that perspective. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean, where she coming from with it, it's more like, to me, it's like she's cooning for Fox TV.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, she she's got a history of that. She's got a reputation for that. But I think like you said, from the taking a step back, like you mentioned this in the pre-show, it's like taking a step back. We have to agree that we don't want to be excluded from anything. So we should be included in things, right? You know, in the Oscars and in the textbooks and the and everything, right? So that's why we wanted school integration. That's why we wanted, you know, to be able to have affirmative action. That's why we wanted to be, you know. So we do need to be included in things because we have to force our way into these things. The thing is that saying that we need to take these things away if we want to boycott the Oscars, one has nothing to do with the other. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because bottom line is we had to kick in these doors, and they're showing us again that we can continue to be ignored. You know, it has nothing to do with the fact that we have a BET Awards. Has nothing to do with the fact that the Oscars said that you can't have an Oscar nomination. They excluded us because they could, and they did not bat an eye at it, and they don't really care. The Black History Month thing definitely has nothing to do with it. You know, we need Black History Month because we have to highlight, like you said, what we've done. They highlight all the things that they've done. They put it in our textbooks all day, and then the things that they don't like that they've done, they'll cover it up. I mean, you got to think. Growing up as kids, I mean, I don't know how old you two are, but when I was growing up as a kid in the early '80s, textbooks, they glorified the killing and the destruction of Native Americans.
Exactly.
They completely excluded the fact that we were slaves. We had no information in our textbooks that talked about the slave trade other than a small little blurb talking about, you know, bringing some slaves over, and then that was it. They didn't talk about the fact that there was people being beaten, killed, raped, pillaged, all this kind of stuff. They didn't talk about Black Wall Street. They didn't talk about these are all things that should have been included in our textbooks, but it wasn't. We didn't get that information until February. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So without making a way for our people to not only be celebrated but to be appreciated and to be to see our history and understand our struggle, without this information, we'll fall into a position to continue to be stepped on. We'll fall into a position to continue to be a second-class citizen. Without continuing to push ourselves in the forefront, we'll be pushed in the background. Bottom line. So, no, her comments, albeit, you know, as innocent as she wanted them to sound, and I'm being sarcastic here, they're totally off base. They're totally off base. So.
Exactly. Sonny, you want to chime in?
I just think she another Raven.
Yeah.
Her Raven's emotions is on the boat. And Tay Diggs going there right with them.
Right. Yeah.
So,
exactly. I lost so much respect for the both of them. We need to get them on the boat
and call it, and I don't know, just get them out of here. Like I just saw Lamine that had the you know, Dave Chappelle had the draft.
Oh yeah, the racial draft.
Yeah, we want to trade them in along with Tay Diggs, and we would gladly take it down. And then you have to give them the black card.
Exactly.
Her and Sam Smith. Sam Smith got a soulful voice. I love him. But guys, I want to wrap up the show. Thank you, Willie, for being a guest host for the show.
No problem.
We appreciate you coming out so last minute.
Definitely appreciate you coming out, bro. Doing the show with us.
I want to say Kenya and J-Ro, we miss you guys. We'll catch you on the next show. Guys, catch us next Thursday, same time, same place. Thank you for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.